We're not shy.
My fellow
on
New
écoute juste
Brunswickers.
attentivement.
Say it again, Ray.
I said my fellow New Brunswickers. I'm not embarrassed in front of you guys. I feel at home.
Just give him a little introduction that you come from, and I'll leave you say it.
Yeah, I'm from New Brunswick too. I'm from the English part, unfortunately. I'm from near St. John in Rossay. But I'm in Toronto now. I work for TOPdesk. I've been working with the crew here with Stéphane, Kevin, René Jean. And we have done a lot of work over the last, it's almost been a year, eh, guys?
Yeah, it's been fun, and it's gone quick.
Yeah, it has gone quick. So today's session, I'm sure you guys know generally what it's about, but I'm going to be giving you all an introduction to the operator interface of TOPdesk. I understand that you're not going live yet with the tool, so if you don't absorb all the information today, that's fine. You'll have, from what I understand, the next couple of months to get used to it. And then I would imagine that there's going to be some sort of refresher before we flip the switch and actually do go live. And whether that's with me or with your team here. Yes, Pierre, go ahead.
I was wondering if I was the only one where the sound was cutting. You were talking and
no, you're not.
It was skipping all the way.
No, everything
Yeah,
is
it's
working fine.
for everybody.
It's fine for me. From someone else side, I believe it's the network. On your
It's fine
side.
in the app.
Yeah, no, it's fine though.
Moi, je suis à la maison, il faut vous retourner à la maison. Ça fonctionne bien.
Okay,
Change bien ici.
just voulais savoir, just to let you know, what we're going to do is all the users except Ray will shut off their cameras if you have your cameras on, because I don't see everyone all on one screen. And we'll give that a shot, puis on verra qu'est-ce qui se passe avec ça.
Let me know if you have any other audio issues. And by the way, feel free to chime in at any point. I like to keep the session like very casual, so feel free to interrupt me, just unmute yourself and jump in if you have any questions or if you want to go over something that I went over and didn't quite make sense, we can go over it again. With that said, does anyone have any questions before we start off? Doesn't look like it.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. And
we got it.
You got it. Perfect. Yep. Okay, so I'm starting off from the beginning, assuming that none of you have been in TOPdesk before. I know that some of you have, but today's session is going to be a general introduction to the operator side of TOPdesk. So this is the side that you'll be working from, answering tickets, acting as an operator, and just to get the terminology straight, operator or technician or specialist, they all mean the same thing. You guys are the ones that are handling the requests that are coming in. And then the user or the person, they see the self-service portal side, which is another display for them. So we will see that intermittently here and there, but the focus of today's training is going to be on the operator side. So the first thing I'm doing is just logging in. You guys will have single sign-on enabled, so you won't have to log in like I am now.
Oh, just a little correction. Oh, okay, Kevin, you go for it.
Yeah, on this server, we won't have the single sign-on. It's on the main server that we'll get it.
Okay. So then on this
the
one,
test server is not going to be single sign-on.
Okay.
We didn't want to have any additional surprises by if the URL got leaked out. We didn't want outside of IT being able to start putting in tickets and stuff like that. So we made it kind of secretly. So it's kind of nice and hush hush.
Okay. Is there any chance in the last couple of hours someone might have reset? Oh, never mind. Nope. Never mind. Take it back. It was me. Okay, so I've logged in. This is the homepage. It's extremely blank right now. There's not much to see. I'm just going to show you a couple of things about how to navigate through TOPdesk on this first page. But we are going to come back to it later in the session to show you how you can customize it and display the things that you want to see when you log into your operator homepage. First thing I want to talk about is up here in the top left corner. This is going to be the button that you'll probably use the most to get around TOPdesk. It's like a hamburger button or the TOPdesk menu, where you can create a new incident, a new asset, new knowledge item, things like that. You can create selections and reports. We'll talk about all of these things. That's the navigation button to get around to anywhere that you need to in TOPdesk. What you see on this page also will depend on your role. So for me right now, I'm set up, I think Kevin might have set me up here as just a general, like a casual IT person. So
You're currently as a technician.
Yeah, perfect. So this should be more or less what you see when you log in as well. Beneath the menu button here, you have like a quick launch bar. At the bottom, I can expand it. And you've got buttons here to search for something. So I can search through incidents or tickets. I can search through assets. I can search for buildings, for persons. That's your search bar up here. Next is bookmarks. We'll talk about that later, but you can bookmark things. And it's just a quick way to get them back. The caller card, we'll talk about later. And then new first line incident, new second line incident, and then the knowledge base. These are just what are here by default. But if you want to edit this bar, you can click on the edit button, and it gives you options here on what you would like to see on your quick launch bar there. Again, I'm kind of just cruising over these things because they're not super important right now. I just want to give everyone a nice overview of what the homepage looks like. So I'm going to collapse this again. And then we see here different sort of what we call widgets on the homepage. So these are all modifiable. We can move them around. We can reorganize them. We can add new ones. And again, we're going to circle back to this at the end once we've got a bigger picture of what it looks like to work in this portal. We can decide what we want to see on our homepage. But just quickly, we've got the tasks widget here, which shows me any first line tickets that have come in that are under my name. We've got two columns. One is for my own tickets. The other one is for me and the groups that I'm assigned to, and tickets that are assigned to the group, but that are not assigned to individuals. And we can modify what we see in those two columns over here. We'll talk about selections and reports again later in the discussion, and this will be where you can create your own sort of curated overviews of what types of tickets you want to see. An example would be, I want to see all the tickets that belong to my group that are still open, or maybe I want to see tickets that are overdue, or maybe I'm just focused on solving tickets that have to do with hardware. So I want a curated list of just tickets that have to do with hardware because that's my domain and I want to keep track of what's coming in. So we can set those up ourselves, and we'll talk more about that later. The last thing I want to show you before we get into what a ticket looks like is in the top right here. You've got a little menu button for your own personal settings. So if I click on that, it will open up a new tab. And by the way, TOPdesk operates on like a tab system. So if I open up a new ticket, for example, you'll see up here, it comes in as a new tab. So it's all tabs. But back to my settings here, you can choose your display options. So you can have tickets that are bold, which are logged today. I like that option. You can have tickets that are blue, which means that their target date is today, and then red means that they are overdue. But what's I think most important for you guys here is the language settings. So if you'd like to work in French or English, the default setting is that it will detect the language automatically based on your browser settings. So if your browser's in English, you're going to see everything in English. If you want to keep your browser in English, but you'd like to use TOPdesk in French, then you can select this button here and you can select French, and everything will be translated once I hit save. And now everything's in French for you. So again, I'm just going to ignore this. Again, that's up here in the top right corner, mes paramètres, and you can select your language manually here.
Great. Before
Yes.
you move on to the next, I'm just going to say something very, very quick that I forgot to mention.
Yep.
Anyone that logs into the specialist or operator section, if you notice that you're missing options, don't worry about it. We haven't finished all the configurations of each user. So by Monday, this should be completed. So say for fun, you can't see level 1. Don't panic. It'll be there by Monday.
Let
Okay,
me know though. I just wanna, just in case I missed something. So send me a message.
And that's Kevin Robert requesting that. Okay, Rick.
Okay, sounds good. So we're moving on to tickets now. So this is going to be the bread and butter of our discussion today. Learning to come off of your old system and getting used to what a ticket looks like in TOPdesk. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start off a brand new ticket from scratch. So that would be like if someone walks up to your desk or calls you on the phone or sends you a Teams message and you're just creating a brand new ticket from scratch. Ideally, that's not what's going to happen. We're going to have people directed to the self-service portal because when the tickets come in through the SSP, they will be automatically categorized and prioritized. And a bunch of these fields that we're about to fill in will come in, they'll land on your desk and they'll already be filled in. So all that's left for you to do is to solve the problem. But to get you guys familiarized with what a ticket looks like, I'm going to start a ticket from scratch. So I'm going to use my quick launch bar over here. And I'm going to start a nouvel instant de premier niveau. And as you can see, all of the red fields are the ones that are mandatory before we can save the ticket. That's a setting that is modifiable by the team. So I think that René Jean and everyone else is open to suggestions, especially during this trial period. There's a lot of things that we can change in the environment to suit it to your guys' needs. But for now, we've decided that these are the most important fields that we need to have filled out before the ticket even gets saved. So the first thing I'll do is I'll fill in the caller name. So we'll use René Jean as an example. And I have a problem with my printer. In the blue box up here, this is where the request will come in. So the best practice is to fill this in the voice of the person who has the issue, right? Because the speech bubble is coming out of René Jean's name here. So this is, I have a problem with my printer. I've tried this, I've tried that. It didn't work. The entire problem or the general description of the issue is filled in this blue box. Now the brief description, of course, self-explanatory. So I'm going to say printer issue, something along those lines. This is an important box because you'll see this field pop up in, for example, an email notification. That's another thing that I think that we're all welcome to feedback on is we've set up when people get notified by email for certain situations. And this field often gets pulled in those notifications because this will show up in the subject line of the email. It will also be visible to you in your overviews of tickets. So back to the homepage where I mentioned you could have like lists of tickets. There will be a column for the brief description. So my point here is that the brief description is a fairly important field. It does help a lot in different areas. So it's a good idea to have a nice brief description of what the ticket is about. Moyen d'entrée, entry method is in this case, we'll just say it's in person. Again, the reason that this one is important is because in order to help you guys be more efficient and not have to fill in all these boxes like we're doing right now, we would like to direct as much traffic as possible to the self-service portal. So by filling this field in, we'll be able to keep track of whether or not we're doing a good job at that. So it's important to make sure that you fill this one in accurately so that we know if people are just walking up to your desk, if they're emailing you, if they're messaging you on Teams, or if they're using the self-service portal. Incident type, in this case, we have malfunction, request, training, and feedback. These, again, are used for metrics, but they are very insightful, so it's a good idea to have this filled in as accurately as possible as well. Now, category and subcategory are a bit more powerful. They are also used for reporting and for metrics, but they also can be used to route tickets to the right team. So if someone's come up to you with an issue about maybe it's cybersecurity and there's a cyber incident, it might not be your team that handles it. But as you can see here, when I've selected that, it says that a default technician has already been selected. Do you want to replace it? So if I say yes, it's going to automatically assign it to the technicien group, because in the back end, we've said when something comes in of this nature, we assign it to this team. So the category and subcategory are a bit more important in terms of the functions that they carry in TOPdesk than the three previous fields. But all of that is to say that these are very all of these fields are important, and when we direct our traffic to the self-service portal, you shouldn't have to worry about them. They should already be filled in when you receive the ticket itself. The next is objet or asset. If they are logging a ticket regarding a certain asset, then the asset numbers will show up here. So you can link it yourself, or they'll be able to link it on the self-service portal form. Next is the the planification, which is impact, urgency, priority, duration, and the date that it is expected to be done. What's good about this is that we've set up a priority matrix in the background where impact and urgency are the X and the Y axis. So depending on what you choose for impact and urgency, the rest will fill out on its own. So as you can see right now, the impact is on one person and that they are able to work. So that gives it a priority of 6, which gives us 2 weeks to solve the issue, because obviously if it's only impacting one person and they're still able to work, it's not super high priority. However, if it's affecting multiple classes and they are not able to work, you see that the priority and the duration goes way up, or way lower. The priority goes way up and the duration becomes much shorter. So all you really need to do is to fill in the impact and the urgency, and the rest will follow. Finally, down here for traitement, we have groupe de spécialistes, so your operator group, and then the specific operator themselves down here. So if I press this button right here, mettre mon nom, my name will populate. And the only reason that works is because I'm already in the technicien operator group. If I weren't in that group, it would give me a red, like it would be highlighted in red and say, you're not in that group, you need to choose someone else. But if you selected your own operator group in here, then you can use this button to just throw your name in there, or you can select your name from a drop-down list. So we can see everyone else in here who is part of the technicien operator group. And I'm not sure, Renee, was that different from the way that you guys used to work before, the concept of operator groups and operators?
It was pretty much the same way. We also had the button that at the minute that we clicked it, our name appeared. What it is that this way here, it's going to be much easier when it comes to escalating it to level 2 and things like that we didn't really have much in GLPE or the old system.
Okay, perfect. So that is very important. Once you've taken ownership of a ticket, make sure that you put it under your name. And the next thing, which arguably is the most important field when you're working on a ticket, is the status. When tickets come in, I believe the way we've configured it is that the status will be logged. Once you've assigned it to yourself, you should change the status to either assigned or in progress. That's internal amongst yourselves to decide which one to use, but I would use in progress since you're working on it. Not only is the status important to signal to your coworkers that you are working on a ticket or that you've taken ownership of it, but it also is the trigger for a lot of the emails that go out. So someone logs a request about their account in Microsoft Office and they haven't given you their account name, or it's some other third party and you need their username. So you've filled in here, hello, I need XYZ, your account name. Once I've finished typing in my note here, and by the way, this is where you do your work. Like I said before, up here is where the user's issue is. Down here is where you type your replies. Once I've done that, I would like to change the status to waiting for user, because I've now replied to them and I am waiting for them to get back to me with the answer to my question. And when I hit save, I'm not sure if in the test environment, okay, yeah. Apologies to everyone in the operator group because you've just gotten another email from me. But you've seen that once I refresh the ticket, we see that we have an email. So the little symbol right here shows you what it is. It's an email message that's gone out. The first one is incident créé. So we're notifying the customer or the user that we've received your request. It's right here. Yeah, we just simply want to inform you that we've received your ticket. And then we give a resume of what they've submitted and just reassuring them that we're working on it. The next email that went out was to the operator group. So my apologies to all of you guys. I just flooded your inbox with that. But I've now notified the group that a ticket has come in. And these are all configurable. So over the next few months, as you guys get used to the tool, we're open to feedback about whether whether some emails are necessary, some might not be, maybe there are some that are missing, but we can pretty much configure an email communication to go out based on almost any type of circumstance. In this case, the one that I expected to go out, which hasn't, but we'll figure that out, is the one that's waiting for user, because when we change the status to waiting for user, an email should go out to the user to say, hey, we've updated the ticket. We're now waiting for your response. Here's what we're asking for. And then once the user replies, either via email or via the SSP, the ticket should be this one, updated by user, which would be easy for you guys to see in your overview that a ticket's been updated. In this case, we have an email actually that goes out, which I believe, yeah, it went to me. So it's sending me an email saying an update has been provided by the user. Here's the update, and then I can get back to the ticket. So far, any questions? Nothing yet. So once I've provided my solution and we're all good, I can now close the ticket, which again is down with the statuses. I'm going to put the status to closed. And once I save it, you'll see I have gotten, okay. Our emails are still a little bit finicky. We're still working on those, but what will happen is that the closure email goes out and says, this issue has been resolved, ticket is closed. You can either reopen it or you can start a new ticket. A few other things about the ticket here is that if you expand, so you can expand these different sections. If I expand what we call the caller block up here, I can see René Jean's full information down here. If I want to see more, we have these little buttons that we call context menus. If I click that, I can say ouvrir la fiche de personne, and I can look at René Jean's information here. I can see what groups of people that he's a part of. I can see which assets are linked to him. And I can also see any other tickets that René Jean has opened here, which is useful in the case of someone calling repeatedly about the same issue. You might find that they've already got a ticket that's open about it, so you can come here and check. Another thing about tickets is all of the comments that I'm writing here by default are visible to the user. But there are occasions where probably you want to leave a comment to your colleagues. It might be rude, it might not be rude, but you might want to leave something that's private that you don't want to see the caller to see. So this guy never knows how to refill the printer ink. And I can make it invisible. You'll see here with the gray block, it shows that this is invisible for the user. So you can leave personal notes in here. It might even just be like an update or a summary of what's going on. If you need to pass it on to another team, that might not necessarily be relevant to the user who's lodged the issue. But you can make comments invisible here that they will not be able to see from the self-service portal, and that they will not be notified via email. These will not show up in the email. Okay. Another thing here, we've got just a standard text formatting, underline, bold, header, bullet lists. You can add photos, you can add attachments. And then there's another button over here, which is the little stamp one, which is the default text. So these are individual to all of your accounts. So if I click this button, I can say, oops. I can hit the little pencil button here to modify it, and I can say, hello. Thank you for contacting CCNV support, and save it. And then for this one, I can say, thank you. You might say, like, if you have any other issues, please reopen the ticket, blah, 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 but I'll just keep it short. I can save that. And now what happens is, if I ever want to use any of these, I can either use the numbers on my keyboard to select like number 1, for example, and it will throw that text in there. These examples are pretty simple, but sometimes you get the same request over and over again. Like maybe it's a password reset. From my end, from TOPdesk, occasionally, well, actually pretty much every day, we get requests from people that want us to take a look at something in their environment, but they haven't allowed remote support access. So I've got like a standard text giving them instructions on how to enable remote access. And it's really quick for me to just throw that in there and save it and change the status, and I'm done. So with you guys, there might be similar cases where there's something that you're repeating over and over again. So this little button is very good for that. And then you save it and the comment goes in. And then what I would do is change the status to waiting for user, which would trigger the email that goes out to them. And then you just wait for the reply. The information tab, we don't need to worry about. It's basically keeping track of the time of how long it's taken for the ticket to, since it's been open, when it's due. Links, again, if we're going to be linking it to assets or linking it to knowledge items, which we'll talk about in a bit, then that will show up here. And then if there are any attachments, so if you upload like a PDF or a manual, or if there are pictures that are associated, those will show up here in the attachments tab instead of having to scroll through. If it's a long ticket and you know there's a picture somewhere that you want to find, you can find it easier this way. In this case, it's just the 7 emails that have been sent out. So the emails will also show up in this attachments tab. Any questions so far? I know this is a brand new system for you guys, and it's to us, it's very familiar. So I just want to make sure everything's been clear so far. Yes, Isabel.
Sometimes on our tickets, we have the supervisor, or we have somebody that was in like an observateur. How can we do that? Like, let's say like the supervisor did the ticket, but I have to add the employee on the ticket.
It's like a carbon copy.
It's the share button, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, as long as they're not like if we're talking about users and not operators, and you like to share it with their supervisor or their manager.
Yeah.
This button right here, partager avec d'autres. If I click this, then I can type in Kevin. And, oh, Kevin, I didn't know you're a student.
Oh, well, that's a student account, my old student account, but yeah.
Okay. So now it's been shared with Kevin. So Kevin should be able to see this ticket himself. And depending on how we've set up our emails, he can also be notified of any changes or of anything that we'd like, really.
Thank you.
No problem.
Julien
Anyone
has
else?
a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Julien
Sorry,
has
go
a
ahead.
question.
Yeah, I've got 2 actually. The first one is there a way to maybe change in settings the invisible comments? Because by default, mine is always on invisible. I just uncheck it when I want the employee to see it.
Yeah, there is. So yes, you can set the default to be invisible always, and then you have to turn off invisible when you want to leave a visible comment, but it's system wide. So it will be for everyone.
Okay.
So it's up to you guys to decide which default you'd like to use. So it is possible, but it applies to everyone.
Okay. And the second question is, earlier we are talking about priority on tickets, which, for example, if it affects one user, it's only going to be a 2-week notice or whatever.
Yeah.
If we have multiple users that have the same issue and they each open a separate ticket, can we make it so they like link with each other and just change the actual priority level? Because it would affect more
Yes.
than one user?
Yes to both. So that was the next thing I was going to show you. I was going to do it in the next example, but I can do it now. Up here in this button that says Créer, you can create a incident majeur or major incident. When I click that, it's asking me, what do I want to copy over? So I'm essentially creating a new ticket, which is called a major ticket. And I can decide, do I want to copy the request, the things that I put in the action fields, which are all of my comments down here, other information, and attached documents. You can also choose to publish this on the self-service portal. So when you log into the SSP, you will see it on the left-hand side. So for example, say your Outlook system, no one's able to log into Outlook one morning because there's an issue. And you've already received a handful of tickets and you anticipate a ton more when everyone arrives to work at 9 o'clock, you would publish this to the SSP. You can decide, if it's only going to affect Coburg, you can say, I only want to publish this for the people who are from Coburg and only they will see it. Otherwise, if it's system wide, then you leave it as so. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. And what it does is it creates a new incident majeur. So you do need to assign it to someone. I'll assign it to the same person who did the original ticket. Everything else is filled in. I'm going to leave this as in progress for the status, and I will save it. And now you see up here in the incidents tab, or incident, that there is one linked ticket, and it's the original ticket from which I spawned the major ticket. Now, if I get a brand new ticket, let's do this again. So if I get another ticket here, I'm going to say technicien and save it. Let's just imagine that it's about the same issue. I can go to the information tab. And down here where it says incident majeur, I can say this is the same issue that we dealt with earlier, and I can link it. So if I hit save, and now if I go back to the major incident and refresh it, you can now see that both of these tickets are linked. And the benefit of doing that is that, first of all, I published it on the self-service portal, which we'll see in a moment. So others, with a simple click of a button, can add their names to the list, and that will just change the. Where is it? Oh, sorry. This is the child ticket. If I look at the major ticket here, that will add their names. So if Isabel, if Julien, if everyone is clicking that button, their names will get added, and you'll get a ton of tickets. But they're all linked to this major ticket here. So when you provide an update and say, okay, we've contacted Microsoft, we have an ETA of 3 hours for the resolution. This is what you can do in the meantime. You can post it here, and it will send that correspondence to everyone who's linked to the major incident. And when it's done, you can then close them. So when let me see, assistant de fermeture, I can say I want to change the status of all of them to closed. Next. Resolved by Microsoft. And then I can hit finish. And it should now close them all, except for René Jean, who just,
Oh,
Was
the
that the one that-
example, I was in the self-service portal and I just clicked the button to show that you could use
Okay.
mine as an example, that somebody that you didn't link the ticket to. Well, when you're gonna show them how to do it, well, that's how I
Yep.
did it. And my name's on the list, so I would get the email saying, hey, it's fixed.
exactly. And unfortunately, I think we must have hit it at the same time because I closed these two, or it was in between when I was doing that thing, but it would have closed his as well.
Yep.
But yeah, as you can see, it shows up here in the list too. Thank you.
I'm one of these clients that I send 75 tickets in the next 5 minutes for the same problem.
Yeah. We'll have a special major ticket just for you. And then you can close you can actually do this in one step. You can just close the general ticket here and it'll say, yeah, terminer les instants liés à cet instant majeur. And I'll say yes. And then it'll go through the same thing again. I'll have to do the assistant de fermeture. Suivant. I'm going to change this to closed. And then finish. Good. And now, as you can see with a little icon here, the green box with a double check mark means that they are closed. And so is the major ticket here. Any other questions about that before we move on?
Juliet?
This might be a question more for René Jean or Kevin. But earlier, when you were making the major incident, you said you can select a specific campus. Is that based on our employee profiles or something else,
It will be based on the employee profiles, yes.
which are never up to date?
Which will be up to date very shortly. We're working on a project called Gestion d'identité,
Okay.
where Louise is going to keep them up to date on a regular basis.
Okay.
We're hoping to have that in place before the students arrive.
Okay.
Anybody else? Nope. Keep going, Ray.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is you guys have seen now the operator portal. Should be relatively familiar with it by now. Again, please chime in if you have any questions. I'm now going to open up a private browser and I'm going to go into the oops,
Self-service portal.
oh, not the support. That's exactly what I was trying not to do. CCNB, yeah, exactly, the self-service portal. So I'm going to log in here as a user.
For the ones that are wondering what is the self-service portal, it's something brand new to our clientele that they will actually have an interface that they can interact either if they're at college or at the house to submit a ticket and actually see where their tickets are at this time.
Perfect. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And this is what they will see here on the self-service portal. We've got a search bar. We have got some tiles here. Right now I'm looking at a simplified version of it based on my profile that Kevin has set up. You will see different things based on your role at CCNB. So if you're a student, you'll see something different than what a teacher would see or what a professor would see, based on what's made available to them. We will look at an example in Mon Espace de Travail, Nouvelle Demande. So if I click on this, it gives me another submenu here, Compte, Accès logiciel, Équipement informatique, etc. I'm going to go to Équipement informatique.
And
we've
just
got-
an
Yep.
added quick one, Ray is using an employee account at this point.
Okay, perfect. So this is going to give you a quick description of the service that's offered on this page. Okay, so yeah, laptops, monitors, headphones, keyboards, etc. are all supported on this page. And then on the right-hand side, we've got links directly to forms that your users will fill out if there is an issue that they need to log a ticket for. So for now, we will do prix d'équipement. Something is broken. And as you can see here, we've got instructions. We've got my information, where I'm from, my phone number, my email address. And now I get to decide it's that asset number. If you'd like to, if you have the asset number, you can put it in there. I'm going to say it's with my laptop. And then this, I don't know if it's familiar to any of you yet, but qui est affecté, quelle est votre situation? These two things are the impact and the urgency. So by having them be honest and select, you know, does it affect me? Does it affect my entire team? Am I able to work? Am I not able to work? That will then subsequently determine the priority, the due date, and how long it's supposed to take you to solve the ticket.
You have a question,
So
Ray?
this,
Oh,
sorry,
no,
go
it's more of
ahead.
a comment from me. One, most of them, we put them as the default selection is one person able to work. So if they don't fill it, they won't get as fast of a service. So to make them think of it. And also some of the forms are pre-selected and not even showing up because we know that if they click on that form, it's more important than that. So we won't bother asking them or making them switch it.
Okay. Perfect. So again, I'm just trying to create the link here between the fields that we saw on the operator side to the fields that we're seeing here on this form now. So now I'm going to write my description of the problem here. I can attach a file if I have a picture of it or some PDF that I want to attach. And then we've got, what's the best way to reach you? We'll say Microsoft Teams. And then where are you at your desk, working from home or somewhere else? And when I'm happy with all of my answers as a user, I will submit the ticket. And now we get a message. Thank you very much. Your ticket has been submitted. This is the number. So if I click on the number as a user, I can see what I've submitted to you guys under my name. I can see the ticket number itself, which is right here. I can share this with other people. So if there's a printer that's broken down that you share with 3 or 4 of your colleagues, you can add their names in here and then they won't have to log a ticket. They'll be kept up to date on the progress. I also see the status. So right now it's en cours de traitement par technicien. Date d'échéance. It should be done by the 10th of May, which is 2 weeks. It's quite a while. And if the issue is resolved on its own, or if I figure out a way to fix it myself, I can close this on my own. And side note here, TOPdesk is a European company, and our French translations are done by our Belgian colleagues. So I've received a lot of feedback about clôturer in Canada. But in TOPdesk case, that means to close the ticket. Status assigned, type, categorization, just more information down here. And if I have an update, I can put my update in here and hit send. And that will now update the ticket here for me. Now, I'm going to copy the ticket number. And I'm going to go back to the operator side. If I have a ticket number, I can dump it in here. And it doesn't matter if I'm looking for incidents or people or buildings. As long as I put an exact ticket number in here, TOPdesk will recognize that and it will bring up the ticket right away instead of actually having to search for something. So Randy's ahead of me. He's already looking at the ticket. And he would see here that all of the mandatory fields are filled in. So like we saw earlier, instead of having to manually fill in all of these fields, they've been filled in on the back end by your team here, by Kevin, Stefan, Renee, who have configured the form so that when that specific form is filled in, we can fill in a lot of these details on the back end. So when the ticket arrives on your desk, all that's left for you to do is, this is my advice, change the status. So now it's been updated by the user because I gave that update there. I can say I am now waiting for the user to reply because I've given them advice and I'd like to see if they've implemented it, if that works, if they're happy with it, etc. And you can see here that an email has gone out, call updated to the caller. If I click on it, you can have a look at what it says. It shows this is my advice. It was updated by Ray McGuire. Here's my advice. Here's the original problem. And then you would wait for them to get back to you. Once they've gotten back to you, so if I say, let me go back to the portal here, let me refresh the page. Here's the advice from the operator, and it's probably confusing because I have the same name for my person account and my operator account. This is great. It worked. Thank you. I can send that. And I can either close the ticket myself as a user on this end, but if I don't, of course, you as the operator, you would receive that update from your user, and then you would close it here. Closed and save. And that's it. Please, if you have any questions, please speak up.
Yeah,
I know
you do?
Pascal had asked a question in the chat.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I have too many windows going on here. Let me see. I
Yes,
missed a
you can
lot on the
adjust the
chat
ticket
here.
parameters.
Okay.
Yeah. He asked if you can adjust the ticket parameters after the initial submission.
No, they cannot. No, they can update the ticket with text, but they can't. All that they can really do, their only options here are to update it by text, share it with other people, or close it. But once the initial form has been submitted, they cannot change the categorization, the prioritization, aside from leaving like a desperate message saying, help, I really, really need this to get done. But no.
Technician could change, the specialist can change it once he gets the information. Like, it's not just me, it's everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, as an operator or technician, when you receive that message, you can change the priority and everything, the categorization, everything you can change from the operator side, but from the user side, they cannot change it.
That's the example I had in mind. I thought if a user has a problem, reports it, and then he notices that his entire sector has the same problem, well, it changes the priority.
Yeah, in that case, that's when I would suggest that you create a major ticket.
Right.
And then, yeah, the operator, you guys as technicians or operators, you can always change the priority yourselves. But we once the form is submitted, the user can no longer determine the priority. And that's, I understand why that might work in certain situations that you would want it to happen, but in a lot of other situations, you also don't want them to come in and dictate to you when their ticket should be resolved.
After the fact just confuses the whole issue.
Yeah, or for them to say, I need it done tomorrow, when you have other things that are a higher priority, and it's up to you to determine your priority, not them.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, Ray, I have a question.
Yep. Okay.
I'm working on this ticket here. It's still open. I know it's closed, but we'll pretend it's still open. And I notice I don't have the knowledge of doing it. What do I do next to bring it to the next level?
If you're working,
I'm level 1 and I need a level 2 to help me out.
yes. So we need to talk about escalations. How many teams are going to be working on the second level?
Kevin and Robert, I'll need you. Kevin and Stefan, I need you on this one.
Quite a few. I don't have an exact number, but it depends on the issue.
More than 7.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, perfect. So yes, we had these discussions before about first and second level. Usually there are 2 reasons to escalate to the second level. It's either speciality or like special skills, people who are not usually manning like tickets that are just coming in on a regular basis. And then the other reason would be time. It might be something that's going to take a long time and you don't want to see it in your queue of first level tickets, so you can escalate it. So in this example, if this ticket was something that I needed to escalate to maybe the cybersecurity team or our networking people, I can hit escalade. I would give it a reason. So I'd say specialty. And this now is a second level ticket. and this would go to our second level support groups. So we can determine which groups operate on either the first or second or both of the levels, and then it gets escalated to that team. The same applies for de-escalating. So if let's see here. Oh, okay. So normally you can de-escalate. I think there's a permission issue with my profile, but the button here would also show up that says de-escalate. So yeah, you can escalate and de-escalate very, very easily. And then it's up to you guys to organize which groups work on the first level and which groups work on the second level.
Excuse me, Ray.
Yes.
Like if the technician escalate the issue, is he going to be able to see everything that's happened with the ticket, or it's he going or he going to lose the access to this ticket?
No, they'll see everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, there's no visibility issues there. Okay. Next on the agenda, we've got a lot packed in for the hour and a half. I want to talk about change management. Renee, does this apply to everyone in the group that's here?
I'm trying to think. I got a brain fart. Give me a brief description of change management again.
It's with the change activities and the permission, like the authorizations.
Go for it. There's quite a few that'll be affected. Yeah.
Okay, because I notice I think I need to give myself permissions. Oh no, no, I do need to give myself permission for it. So let's take a 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we'll switch gears to change management. We'll go back to the home page. I'll show you a couple tricks about how you can modify that. And we'll look at asset management as well. And then if you guys have any questions in the meantime, when we get back, please let me know. Sound good?
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, no problem. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
You got them, smoke them. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. For the ones that are still there, pour moi-même, quoi ce que je vais vous expliquer, puis j'ai pogné un blanc de mémoire parce qu'il a dit en anglais. Change management, si je me trompe pas, c'est à faire avec des formulaires qui demandent des approbations. Puis si que la personne approuve, ça va aller à différents départements en même temps, comme quand ça vient à créer une demande pour avoir un nouveau serveur, mais ça va toucher le centre de données, ça va toucher le département de sécurité, ça va toucher aussi les gars de réseautique. Ce qui est fun, c'est qu'il n'y a rien qui starte jusqu'à temps que Marc-André approuve la demande. Ça va être la prochaine chose qu'il va démontrer aussi. Tandis qu'on attend aussi pour ceux-là qui sont encore là, une des choses qui manquait avec GLPI, qui était très, très, très frustrant, c'est on avait chacune une instance dans GLPI. Il y en avait un pour les TIC, un pour communication, un pour CEA, puis un pour maintenance. On va commencer avec les TIC ici avec TOPdesk, mais qu'est-ce qu'on regarde de faire, c'est qu'on va être capable par la suite, après qu'on a fini avec les TIC, on va ajouter les autres départements qui sont dans GLPI dans TOPdesk. Puis si par chance, je vais donner un bel exemple, Nancy reçoit une demande, puis c'est pas relié avec SJE, c'est réellement relié avec CEA. Après que CEA va être rentré, elle va être capable de choisir CEA dans la liste, puis le ticket va aller directement à CEA. Elle n'aura pas besoin de copier puis paster le ticket dans leur système. Ça va tout être dans un. L'autre chose qu'on s'attend à faire aussi, c'est on s'attend de pas juste ajouter le monde qui est dans GLPI, mais à fur et à mesure, on va ajouter ressources humaines, on va ajouter finances, puis d'autres départements. Ça va devenir que ce système ici va être ce qu'on appellerait en anglais un one-stop shop pour tous les différents départements dans le CCNB qui ont besoin d'un système de billets. Puis pour ceux-là qui sont au courant, oui, on a même pensé pour compétences numériques en train d'aider nos étudiants aussi.
Okay. Oh, good. Kevin's already answered the question.
L'autre chose qui peut être important aussi pour l'équipe, toutes les équipes, c'est qu'à ce moment ici, on est en train de fonctionner avec un système qui a encore besoin d'avoir des configurations. C'est possible qu'on va s'apercevoir qu'on va avoir besoin de plus d'informations dans une section qu'à une autre. Si c'est ça les cas aussi, on va certainement vous donner puis vous offrir des formations plus détaillées dans différentes sections. Soyez pas gênés durant l'UAT ou même avant. Si il y a des choses que vous voyez qui est carrément très difficile ou vous ne comprenez pas le fonctionnement, vous nous avisez, soit en m'envoyant un courriel à moi ou une demande de soutien dans GLPI à ce moment-ci, puis on va vous aider.
Okay. So yeah, I think you gave a pretty good explanation of what change management is.
Yeah, I explained it's because I call it a change request. It's when it comes to a ticket that you have to have an approval and then it can go down different flows, correct?
That's right. Yeah. Change management would we could spend an hour and a half on its own. It's the most complicated, I would say, module in TOPdesk. Today, I'm just going to give you guys a brief introduction to it. You don't need to understand the entire module as an operator unless you're overseeing the entire change. But I do want you to be introduced to the difference in what a change looks like versus a ticket. So if I go, again, I'm on the self-service portal here, so I'm acting like a user. And I'm going to go to the demande de changement ou de projet. And I will then go to demande de nouveau serveur sandbox. So I'm requesting a new sandbox server.
And to
I'm
answer
gonna
a
say
question before they even ask, a change request can be in in any of the tiles. It's just that at this point in time where we are, the change requests that we have are in a different tile than mes demandes. But in the near future, it could be in multiple tiles depending on the scenario.
gonna make all of my selections here. And then descriptions here about why I want to, what I'm going to do with the server. I can attach something and I'm going to send it.
As you can see, like Ray was showing you, it looks like a ticket. It smells like a ticket. I can't taste it because it's electronic, but to the normal user, it's just a ticket.
Exactly. It's going to look like the same thing for everyone. The difference is going to be in the ticket number. It's going to start with a C instead of, I believe we had ours starting with T's for the tickets before.
Mhm.
Here's all the answers that I've submitted in my form for my own record. We see here in the progress trail, it's already been automatically approved by Marc-André. It's been approved by the Centre de Données, and I'm going to show you where these approvals come from. We have set this form up so that it gets automatically approved, both of these steps. And now it is en cours de traitement, and we're waiting for someone to essentially configure the server for us. And we have a due date here. We expect it to be done by May the 6th. With the status, and then some more information about the categorization. And then again, just like in tickets, you can add more information if you say, oh, I only asked for 2 Kyle, but now I want 4. I can add, I can double up the course or any other information that you like to add here. Now I'm going to take this number. I'm going to go back to the operator side. I'm going to cheat because I'm going to go to my support proxy. And now if I search for that ticket, again, it looks like I'm searching for operators, but like I said before, as long as you put the exact ticket or change number in here, TOPdesk will bring up that ticket instead of showing you a bunch of search results. It'll just bring it up right away. And now we see here, it looks just like a ticket, right? We've got all of our information about the ticket on the left-hand side, and then we've got the request from the user here, except for you'll notice that the box here is purple and not blue. So purple means that it's a change request. And then same thing here. You add your notes down here, any communication with the user down here, internal communication if you want to make it invisible, etc. It's all the same as a ticket. But before we go any further, I would like to show you the flow chart of what a ticket versus a change looks like. So now I'm on the modules page. These are all the modules that you guys have. If I go to incident management, just to do a quick recap of what we've already discussed, we've got this flow chart here. Starting on the left, you start as a first or second line ticket, which is same thing essentially. It goes into progress, which is when you are working on it. And then in a first line ticket, once you're done working on it, you've completed it, and then you close it. Extremely straightforward. For the second line, what I failed to mention earlier is that you can actually spawn off partial tickets. So if you've got like subtasks that other teams might need to do, in the server creation example, you might have someone on your networking team create the connections for that server, or someone who's in charge of permissions to assign the right permissions. You might have subtasks that you can do only on the second line. But otherwise, it's a fairly straightforward process. You receive it, it's in progress, you complete it, you close it. Now, for change management, bear with me, it's a bit more complicated. And again, we will have more trainings on this before we go live in the summertime. So if you don't absorb everything today, that's fine. But the way that a change works is that it starts off as a preliminary request for change. The best example that I can give for going through this flowchart is, say you're on a team and you need a new laptop. So you go to your manager and say, I need a new laptop. Mine's overheating. It's slow. The fan's always running. So the preliminary request would go to your direct manager. And your direct manager is probably not someone who's working in TOPdesk as an operator. They're probably a user like everyone else. So this preliminary request can be approved or denied or rejected via the SSP. So we're looking for your first manager's approval saying, yeah, Bob's computer sucks. He does need a new one. I approve it. That's a preliminary request, and it takes place on the self-service portal. Once that's been approved, it becomes a request for change, which goes to the operator side. So Bob's manager has said, yes, he needs a new laptop. Now the IT team says, do we have any laptops in stock, or do we have enough budget left in the year to buy a new laptop for Bob? That's where you get to decide yes or no this goes through. So Bob's manager has already said yes in the preliminary phase. Now we're in the request phase. And yes, we have a laptop in stock, or yes, we have budget. We'll order a new one from Dell. So then you give it the go ahead. Once you've given it the go ahead, then it goes into the in progress phase, which is where we are now. So if we go back to this screen, we see that Malcolm Gray would have been my immediate supervisor who would have said, yes, I approve the new server request. Centre de données would say, yep, we have the capacity, we can create it. So we approve it as well. Now we are in the progress phase, or traitement, which, if I go back here, is all of this area over here. If it's a simple change, it's very much like a ticket. The only difference between a simple change and a ticket are these two approval steps. And then it's just like a ticket. You do what you need to do, you implement it, and you close it. If it's an extensive change, and a good example for an extensive change would be maybe like an onboarding process. You've got a new employee, it's been approved, and we are now in the extensive change in progress phase. The progress, or the steps to get from here to closing it, there are a lot more, because now we've got different activities. You might have your IT team that needs to add them to Active Directory, get extra licenses, get their equipment together. You might have an HR team that is doing all the legal work, and they have certain tasks that they need to complete. You might also have the facilities team that needs to set up their cubicle or their office or their workspace. So you'd have multiple teams or multiple people working on the same change, but they would all have different activities. That's why these look like they're stacked, because you've got different activities assigned to different groups or different people that are all working to get them done. And when all of those activities, well, they've been started, and then once they've either been resolved or skipped, because some of them might not be necessary, when all of those activities are finished, you can then go ahead and close the overall change. So if I go back to the change that I submitted here on the form, which is for a new server, I've got all the information submitted on the form here in the purple block. I've got my space to provide my feedback or whatever's going on. We've got the status, which is logged. But in a change request, we've also got this tab here for activities, of which we can see there are 5. If I look at the planner view on this tab, I can see that these are in sequence. You will have activities, of course, that are in parallel that can happen at the same time simultaneously. But in this case, the creation of the server needs to take place before we can set up the connection, which takes place before we can configure the server, which takes place before we can secure it, and then add the user to the server owner group. So if I open up this activity here, I can see this has been assigned to the data center. And instead of a caller block here, which is just my information, what I'm actually seeing is information from the overall change. So these are the activities that I'm assuming that most of the people in this group will be dealing with. You will be handling sub activities of a change. So let's say I've done this. I've added my note to say it's finished. And I'm going to say, this has been closed. I've finished this activity. It's all good. If I go back to the overall change and refresh it, you'll see that now there's a green check mark here next to this activity. It's done. And you'll see that on the subsequent activity, there's a little clock, which means that it's ready to start. These ones are planned, but they're not ready to start yet because I'm still waiting for the connection set up. So let's say that I am now on the network infrastructure team. This is finished. I'll set the status to closed. I'll save it. And again, if we go back to the overall change, if I refresh this, you now see that the connection was set up and it's done. The server configuration, say that this is not necessary. So in this case, I'm going to skip it. And just to reiterate, I think most of the people in this group are going to just be handling these activities and not the overall change. So all that's important for you guys to know is that these are much like tickets. You just need to understand that all the information on the left should be filled in by the time it reaches your desk. In the purple box is a request, and this is the box for you guys to add your notes, and you need to also update the status, and then hit save when you're done with that.
Just an added message to this to help with Ray is what he's explaining is that at the beginning, most of you guys won't be using this yet, but if we go in the near future where we're going to actually have a change request for a new employee, well, there'll be a task assigned to technicians to get the machines ready. There'll be a task assigned to human resources to get his account ready. There'll be a task sent to maintenance to get his office ready. There'll probably be a task if it's a teacher that'll be sent to Nancy to do something in PeopleSoft also. So this is why we wanted to show everyone, because there's going to be a part in the near future that you will be implied in it to do them like as if they're normal tasks. But we wanted you to understand that multiple people can work on the same request at the same time, depending on the flow itself. Right?
Yep. Perfect. I'm going to just continue through and I'm going to close the last two activities here. And the final one. And my work is closed. And now if I go back here and refresh it, we'll see that, wow, record time. We've done all 5 of those activities in 5 minutes. And the overall change now, I can close it. If I had tried to close it before, it would have given me an error and said, wait, not all the activities are done. You can't close it yet. But because they're all done or skipped, I can now close the overall change. I could say that it's been approved by the data center, give the implementation date, and approve it. And that is the end of the creation of a new server. We've kind of only seen the tip of the iceberg for change management. There's a lot going on in the background, and there's a lot of things we can do with this module. But my goal today was just to show you that if you're just working on activities, it's going to be very, very similar to what you see in a normal ticket in terms of the fields that you have here to fill in, the way that you interact with the ticket, and the status, which is the most important part. So please, I know this is a ton of information. I've not been checking the conversation, but please, any questions?
No, you're
or if
good.
you'd like me to go back, no, I'm good. But if you'd like me to go back to anything and revisit it,
yeah,
please
you have
speak
a
up.
question.
Oh, go ahead, idiot.
Yes. I'm just wondering if we can change the color layout.
The what, sorry? Color.
Color layout. Yeah, like for the change request, it's purple, or the other ticket it's blue because I'm I'm colorblind, and some color are really close for me. So I don't know if it's possible to change, like only for me, like change the color.
Uh, unfortunately, no.
No,
Can't
okay.
change the blue and the yeah, the blue and the purple.
Okay.
But there are other visual cues. For example, there's a house. I don't know why they chose a
Okay.
house, but they chose a house for the change requests. If it's a
Okay.
2-story house, it's an extensive change. If it's a 1-story house, it's a simple change.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, for activities, it's a little hammer. And there are also activities which we haven't seen yet, which are like approval activities, and they are like a judge's gavel. And then tickets just have the little ticket symbol there.
Okay.
But
Perfect.
sorry, Eric. Yeah, we can't change the colors. There, I can get back to you after the meeting about accessibility options. But there are like different views you can use, but they're like high contrast views. But there's nothing as subtle as just changing like the blue from the purple. But I agree, they're very similar in color. But sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Oh, it's okay. I'm used to it.
Okay, that's fine.
Ray, you had a
And
second
then we've
question?
got Guillaume.
Well, similarly, I was just asking if there was like a Dart team or something similar to that matter on the web page for single users or yeah.
You're talking like dark mode?
Yeah, I already kind of looked at that and I only see there's in the accessibility options, you can check a box, it says support custom colors. Then there's a link next to it that sends you to a browser extension called Stylus.
Oh,
Where you
gotcha.
can actually customize the colors for your
Oh,
own
okay,
taste.
yeah, I do see that now. Cool, thanks.
It's because the ones that are vampires are having a hard time with white.
Yes.
That's
My
okay.
eyes.
I'm the same way. I used to use like high contrast in my teams. Now I just use this one, but I'm the same. I like everything dark mode. Okay. Okay, so the next the we've got about 10 minutes left. Please, if you have questions, don't be shy. Chime in.
Ray, yeah,
Yep.
you could mention, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but I think you did. The little task window, depending on the department, you'll notice when there's tasks popping in, you'll see them there.
Yeah, exactly. So let me get out of my support proxy here. That was the next item on the agenda was going back to the homepage. For some reason, I don't know if I'm going crazy. Yeah, operator. I think I am going crazy.
Nah, Ray, it's key store that's giving you a hard time.
Let me try this one last time, and if not, I'll just use the proxy. No, there's something, I'm not sure what it is. So I'll go back into the proxy. Okay, so your homepage is going to look basically like this. We already looked at the tasks widget. You can, like I said, there's 2 columns here. You can decide what is displayed in the first column, your own tickets and your groups, own tickets and groups, and unassigned tickets, your own tickets and everyone else's tickets that are in your groups, etc. And same goes for the second column. So that's the default view, but that's only giving you a tally. So it'll give you a number. It'll say like you have 2 tickets and you have 3 change activities. And you can click on the number and it'll bring up a list of those tasks that you have to complete. But if you would like to see an overview, and again, I don't expect anyone to remember this, but I just want to show you that it is possible. And that when we do start working in TOPdesk, you'll be able to configure this homepage for yourself, and you only have to do it once and it'll be there. But I can essentially make a curated list by going to the TOPdesk menu, new, selections, on incident management, and I'll say all incidents. And then I've got just some Boolean logic here where it's like and or options. So I'm going to say select all incidents where, and I will say where the status, actually, no, I'm going to say where the operator group is equal to, I'll say technicien. I'll apply that. And then if I save the selection, I'll say, oops, it's the operator group technicien. That's going to be my selection because I've only said I only want to see tickets that are assigned to that group. You can add other conditions like I only want to see tickets that are open, or I only want to see tickets that have been logged in the past X amount of time. You can give it a description, and then you can decide who it's going to be used by. Yourself, in my case, this is the account that I'm logged into. Or you can say all operators in a certain permission group, or I can just say everyone can use this selection. Save. And now, this is the part where you'll have to like go back to the recording and watch me do this again. Or you'll just forget about it until a few months from now when you guys do go live and then you want to set up your own homepage. But this is a bit of a trick. I'm going to go to the modules page. I'm going to go to incident management. Down here, there is a selections area, so I can see all selections that have to do with incident management. And I can see here. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So I can see all the selections that are listed for incident management. Currently, there are only 2, but let's click on the one that I just created, which is called Technicien. If I've clicked it once, you can see it's highlighted in blue. And this is the part where a lot of you are going to shake your head and wonder why is it like this? And the answer is I don't know, but it's a bit of a trick. Once I've selected it, if I go right down here to the bottom where it says 02 selected along this gray bar in the bottom of the screen, at the end, there's a pi symbol that shows up. It's a magic pi symbol. If I right click it and copy the link, that link directs me to that selection that I've created. So now if I go back to my home page and I add a widget called a web widget, I can say, okay, this is my technicien selection. I'll dump the link in here. Let's make this 600 pixels high, and I'll hit OK. And now what I've got is an overview of that selection that I've created. So these are all tickets that have been assigned to the group technicien. And like I said, I would add more conditions. I would say, okay, I want to see tickets that are assigned to that group. I also want to see tickets that are assigned to the networking group because I'm a part of that. And I also want to exclude tickets that are closed because I'm only interested in seeing tickets that are open because if they're closed, they're done. I don't need to see them. So I just want to see open tickets that are part of group X and group Y that have status A or status B. It's up to you guys to decide what you want to see and how you want to create that list on your homepage here. And then you've also got like a little preview down here. So if I click on any ticket, it'll give me the request. It'll give me the actions. It'll give me some attachments. But it's a much easier way to see what's on the plate for you during the day without having to click into another menu to open up a new screen. So those are done on an individual basis because you guys all have different priorities, different things that you're working on, etc. Any questions? I know that this was a bit strange to add this here. It's kind of a trick, but I like to promote it because I think that it's a really good way to log in and immediately see the list of things that you have to work on for the day. And like I said, if you go back to your settings up here, you can say, okay, I want bold to be logged, tickets that are logged today, italicized if they've been modified by someone, and blue if the target date is today. That will help you in your list here. Docs. Guys, the floor is open, so please, I know we've covered a lot of material today. If you have any questions, please let me know. I do anticipate that there will be a refresher or another training again before you go live. But I hope that this was enough to get you started or at least comfortable with logging in and playing around with the system. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know.
For the ones that are wondering about the inventory, we'll have something definitely set up next week, so don't worry about it. Inventory is actually quite easy. It's not complicated at all.
Yeah.
Don't be shy.
So the two things that we haven't touched today are asset management, so inventory, and knowledge management. There's not too much to those modules. Renee, do you want me to go through quickly one of those two before we run out of time?
Just a knowledge one. I'll do the asset next week.
Okay. So for knowledge management, let's take a ticket here, for example. So let's say, okay, so Stefan here has asked a simple question. His laptop isn't working. So so down here at the bottom right corner, you say search knowledge items. Let's see if there's anything for laptops. Nope. But there probably is for printer. So let's say it's a printer issue and it's the printer's offline. So if I click this one, I'll get a quick window of what the problem is and how to solve it. So the description and then the content, these little check boxes here, I'm going to throw this information into my reply so I can decide what I want to include and what I don't want to include. Normally it's just the content. So if I hit apply, it gets pasted in there. I can hit save. And I can now send this reply to Stefan and say, this is the solution to your issue. And it works really well for two reasons. One, I can use that to quickly respond to his ticket. And two, because Stefan also could have stumbled upon this article on the self-service portal side. For example, if he wants to log a ticket about a printer issue, it's a different knowledge item, but same thing. He can find the information here on the portal himself. And when he is filling out the form and typing in printer issue, if he types in qualité d'impression, this knowledge item will show up on the right-hand side of the screen as a suggestion or as a prompt for him to use that. That's what we call shifting left, right? We want to get the work off of our desk. And if they can solve it on their own, we want them to do that so we can focus on more meaningful tasks. So that's one way of applying a knowledge item. Now, let's say I've just provided a very thorough explanation of how to solve an issue, and I want to save this for other people to use or to refer to. I can also click the button Create and say Create Knowledge Item, and I will give it a title. I will select, if there's a parent item for it. So I'll just say it's on the start page. I have a description, which is usually the problem that was presented at the beginning. I have all the information that I have provided to the user down here, and I can save it. My suggestion is always to have everyone, it's like a collaborative effort. It's a living project. So the knowledge base should always be, I think we should always encourage everyone to create and modify knowledge items because it's always changing. So with tickets, it works in both ways. You have something new that comes in and you think, oh, this is something that I should probably save for the future for someone else to refer to. So you save it as a knowledge item. Or if it's something that comes in and you think, we've dealt with this so many times, there's got to be a knowledge item about it. You can search for it here and you can apply the knowledge item to the ticket.
One of the biggest bases for us right now is we've placed a couple of knowledge items, but the majority, Tony has requested that we're going to be feeding the knowledge base system with our tickets as we start filling them out. Like say, for example, it's a situation like Ray said that happens on multiple occasions. Well, we'll ask the technicians, look, you've seen this like 25 times. I'm exaggerating, but either Kevin, Robert, or Ghislain will say, please make a knowledge item out of it. Well, when you're filling out your ticket, you can do it this way here, save it in knowledge base, and then the clients, I'll be able to find it when they search it or when they start filling out a ticket. If they use the keywords, it'll pop up for them, which actually will reduce some of the tickets that we're getting now from GLP.
Yep.
Well, we're at a 4 o'clock area for us. Ray, I know you got it's 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
I'd like to
got 2 more
pass.
hours till the weekend.
Yeah, I'd like to pass it up again to everyone if they have any questions at all. This is the time. If you don't have questions and something pops in your head during the weekend or something like that, ou vous avez une question que vous avez pensé durant la fin de semaine ou dans la semaine prochaine, gênez-vous pas. Vous avez juste besoin de m'envoyer un courriel à moi, René Aubé. Il y en a qui vont le trouver sur René Jean Aubé. Ou tu peux l'envoyer officiellement comme à Mimi, puis Mimi va nous rejoindre aussi.
And hopefully the question comes up to you next week and not during the weekend. I don't need to be thinking about this during the weekend. But
No. If they're just, I know myself, I'll be watching the TV and then all of a sudden, oh shit, I forgot to ask that. And then I'll write it down real quick so I don't forget it by Monday. So in this case here, what I'd like to do, Ray, I'd like to thank you for not only geez, I guess somebody drank too much.
sorry.
It's me. There we go. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you very much for doing the presentation today. Also to thank you for all the work you've been doing with us so far with TOPdesk. You've given us the tools. We still have a little bit of work to do to get it all tweaked correctly, especially the emails, but we're getting there. And the UAT is going to be a big part of finding all the little glitches that we got to fix. And other than that, thanks, man. And for anyone else, if you don't have any questions, I'm giving you all permission to leave now.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, guys. I'm here for any questions that you have. Pass them directly on to me or through the team here. But yeah.
Thanks, Ray.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
weekend.
you.
Have a nice
Thank
weekend, guys.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Goodbye. Hein?
Je t'attends, Philippe.
Oh!
Phil,
Il m'attend
arrête de
pas.
niaiser.
Oh, ça guette qu'ils m'ont tout entendu. Oh. OK, bye!
Bye. Ben, dans ce cas-là, passe une super belle fin de semaine, les gars. On se parle lundi.